You are going to get knocked down and laughed at by life. When you are attempting to live for Jesus, life will hit you in the face. Life doesn't care who you are, but when you realize that it's time to tell yourself, you know what, I'm getting up. I'm not going to quit. I may get knocked down 9 times, but I'm going to get up 10 times. I am not gonna quit, and I am never gonna give up. It's not how hard you can hit that makes you a winner, but it's how hard you can get hit and get back up and keep going. That was a quote by Rocky Balboa, and I quote him here. It's not how hard you can hit that makes you a winner. You'll be struck by both the devil and by life itself. I may be knocked down, but praise be to God, I'm getting up. I'm not going to stop. You fall down, sometimes you mess up, and God takes you up and brushes you off. If you believe in Jesus, He will never leave you nor forsake you. Even when you mess up everything that comes your way, even if you have wrongdoings, He will never leave you nor forsake you. We do not want troubles, but even though we do not want it, we will not be afraid because we have a God who is going to rescue us and carry us back to our house. According to the book of Isaiah, God promised that He would be with His people when they went through the streams and when they went through the rivers. When you go through the fire without stopping, they won't be able to overpower you, and you won't get burned. It's interesting that God didn't say things like, I'll keep you out of every fire and you won't have to face any floods. Instead, He said that challenges will come, there will be adversities, and there will be things that we don't understand. However, the whole key to this verse is when He said, I will be with you in the fire, in the flood, in the famine. There are over 6,000 promises in the Bible. Allow me to show you just a few of them. The first passage is found in Isaiah chapter 43, verse 2, when God is quoted as saying, When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze. God loves us and is with us. You're not doing this alone. Nobody is. Rather than going through life without God and having all the answers, I would choose to walk with Him even if I didn't know the solutions to all of my questions. Even though I'm going through the valley of the shadow of death, David declared, I will not fear evil. Why? Because God is with us. Therefore, when you know that God is with you because you've asked Him to be there, you can smile even when things are hard. You'll have a praise song in prison, just like Paul and Silas did. You won't be complaining about a trouble or worrying about when things are going to work out. If you follow David's example, you'll find calm within the chaos. Father, thank you for being with me in this valley. Because of this, I won't live in fear or worry. I may not see a path, but I am confident that you do. Just like Dave, we will declare, I will fear no harm, for that thou art with me. Even when we pass through the valley of the shadow of death and other difficult situations, the fact that God is with us and the certainty that He will never leave us or forsake us are what make all the difference. God has promised, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Remembering that God is with us should be the first thing that comes to mind while we are trudging through difficult times together. The fact that God is with us and the certainty that He will never leave us or forsake us are what make all the difference. God has promised, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Remembering that God is with us should be the first thing that comes to mind while we are trudging through difficult times together. God is always one step ahead of us. He has everything under control, and He is working things out in His own timing, which is just perfect. He has a function in mind for each and every one of these things. Hebrews chapter 13 verse 5 says, Keep your lives free from the love of money and be content with what you have. Because God has said, "Never will I leave you, never will I forsake you." From Genesis to the conclusion of the Bible, He does this again and over again. God promises in all the texts, "I will never leave you." Now, you could have experienced abandonment in your personal life by a partner or a father, perhaps, or rejection. But God will never leave you. God would never forsake you. Although we could be tempted to believe that He has forgotten about us, the Bible teaches that God cannot forget anyone. Isaiah chapter 49 verse 15 says, "Can a mother forget the baby at her breast and have no compassion on the child she has born? Though she may forget, I will never forget you." You see, God says He has etched your name into the palms of His hands so He won't ever forget you. Many people acquire tattoos as a way to honor loved ones. "I have carved you on the palms of my hands," God says about you in the Bible. Where was that carving done? It was when He died on the cross and proved how He much loves us. His sacrifice is God's way of saying, "This is how much I love you. I love you this much it hurts. I love you so much," as He hung on the cross with His arms spread and hands wounded with nails. This is how much peace we experience even when things in life don't make sense, because we are aware of God's presence, love, and unending devotion to us. When God is on your side, you cannot lose, and God is a supernatural God who commands the majority. He is not constrained by starvation, fire, floods, or other natural disasters. Your fate cannot be stopped by what ought to put you to death. Even though that challenge might be too much for you, our God is able to overcome it. He is your guardian, your deliverer, your waymaker, your healer, and your provider right now. He is holding back the powers of darkness, preventing the fire from burning you, and preventing the waves from drowning you. You don't have to do this on your own, and you don't have to figure out everything, because you won't know everything. Knowing that He is right there with you, and that He has promised that everything would be okay for you, you must walk by faith and not by sight. The God who governs the cosmos is right there with you. So even though the waves may be large, you have a benefit. Jesus is present during this challenging time in your marriage, your finances, in your struggle at work, in this difficult time, and in whatever relationship. You're squabbling with your job, your spouse, or this conflict you're experiencing on the campus of your high school or university. When I say that He was there during this difficult time, I mean that you could look back on your situation and see that He had left His mark all over it. I'm referring to the kind of place where you can really see God's footsteps in the sand while you were traveling. You can clearly see God's sovereign hand guiding your movements and placing you in the excellent spot at the ideal time. God is always with you and will never abandon or forsake you.